Let's get some thoughts on Shane Beamer here right quick. Several of you asked about this. Shane Beamer, new head coach at South Carolina, 100% approval rating after the press conference. If you are a press conference guy or girl, boy, you're on board. What I thought was going to be called the Shane train, but apparently we're going to go with Beam Team. I guess it works, it rhymes, but you know, I had my money on Shane Train for obvious reasons. And so it's important to keep in mind something here. As we circle back around to, do we think it was the right hire or not? Well, I made my opinion well known. Like if I'm running things up there, Billy Napier would have been my number one candidate. Well, Napier didn't get the job. And you can believe whatever you want to about the way that went down, but it's important to note, South Carolina seems to have gotten their guy. Now, whether other people were offered the job or whatnot, I'm not talking about that necessarily. This is the guy that had the most traction from day one. It's not a name that snuck in there late. It's not a name that after they had to backtrack and reassess, after they got told no by plan A and B, he all of a sudden became a priority and on the radar. This not how this happened. As soon as the job was open, and really before it was open, Shane Beamer's name was front and center. Probably several reasons for that, but the point is, he had support nearly universally behind the scenes there. I'm going to tell you why that's important in a second, but they got their man. So whatever happens down the road, that means I can rightfully sit here and say South Carolina is getting exactly what they asked for. Whether they're winning 10 games or losing 10 games, you're getting exactly what you asked for. So I preferred Napier, but they got their guy. Maybe their criteria far different than mine. Love and passion and then just genuine energy. If you've got those commodities in your head coach, it'll solve a lot of problems in this business. If you've just got a guy who genuinely loves the program and he's willing to run through a brick wall face first for the program instead of viewing it as a rung on a ladder, it's important. It's very obvious. It was a primary goal of South Carolina's to get a guy who checked those boxes. I think more so maybe than any other box aside from, has he ever picked up a football before? Here's the thing I can't shake. So now that the hire is made, it's not, who's going to get it, speculation, hot board, all that stuff. Here's what I can't shake. The idea of us looking down the road, kind of like I did a couple of weeks ago, but different context here, looking down the road and everyone remembering, in South Carolina at least, everyone remembering what the talk was. Because they're looking around and it's kind of inverse right now. In and around Carolina, the approval of this hire is overwhelming. That's why really outsiders don't matter right now. They love the hire, and that's what matters. If you do, though, let's just say you're an Iowa fan, so you're not in Carolina, you're just kind of curious. The outside perception is probably 30-70, positive, negative. Maybe some indifferent, but most people don't think it's going to work out, just to be blunt about it. 3 years down the road, what if that old scenario I kicked to you a couple of weeks ago, what if it's happening? What if they are in contention for the SEC East? The program and the roster perfectly reflects the thumbprint of Shane Beamer. It ends up being a home run hire. Let's just say against the odds, it ends up being a home run hire. Think about the energy around the program. Not only will they have a winning product on the field, but here's what they'll also know. They'll also know the guy that only we believed in when everyone else doubted it, that's who's winning. It's kind of like that 2019 energy from LSU, to be honest with you. Just kind of hopefully stretch it out over more than just 1 year. It's that energy where one of our guys is leading our program and screw the rest of you. You didn't believe in him when we hired him, but we did. So we know what's better for our program than you'll ever know what's better for our program. Most of you, the only time you're ever in Carolina is to go to one of our beaches. You couldn't find Columbia without a GPS navigation in your car, so we don't really care what you think about our hire. Our hire has been money, and now our hire has got us on the field with Georgia, and we're third down and 2, 23-23 tie, fourth quarter. I mean, if we convert here, we're in field goal range to win the SEC East. Is that a long shot? To me, it is. But if it does pan out, you have got the ingredients for a cult-like run, the likes of which, and the energy, the likes of which you haven't seen in quite a while in Columbia, South Carolina. And not the kind of bad cult that, makes you up and move to a remote village in, Central America or South America because folks are after you. Not that kind of cult. A good kind of cult. But the kind of cult where it's circle the wagons and you're either in here or you're not in here. And you need to draw the line right now and you need to decide who's in there and who's not in there. That's how this could pan out. Of course, you and I are both smart enough and reasonable enough to know it also could flop. So there's that. But I would selfishly since back in Columbus, they still call me Cocky Jr. because they thought I went to Carolina. I just worked for a bunch of folks who had gone to Carolina. But since I have been given that label, I'll play it and I'll pull for Shane Beamer. I have no problem doing that. And I have no problem being honest about it either.